Guys, welcome to my channel. So we're going to be making this ball dress, this gathered ball dress, and these are the materials I'm going to be using. I have this net, I have organza, I have my lining, and also I already drafted my pattern. So if you want to know how I drafted this pattern, do let me know in the comment section. So we're going to be placing this aside, and I'm going to be using the pattern to cut out my basic bodies. So I already did that for the back and the front. Now I'm going to be using my lining to lining the upper bodies, that is the half length. So this dress, we have half length and we have the full length. The bottom part of the dress is going to be attached to the half length to get our full length. So now I'm just using my pattern to cut out my lining. So I'm going to pin it together as shown, and I'll be cutting this out. I'll be doing this and also for the back as well. This is the front. After cutting the lining for the basic bodies, this is what we have, the front and the back. Now I'm going to place this aside and we'll be working on our gathers. So this is the net we're going to be using for our gathers. Now I'm going to fold it into 2 equal halves and I will fold it again so I can have something straight. So I'm going to fold it like this again. So just cut it straight and fold it. So you can see what I have. So what I'm just showing you now is the half length. So this half length, we're going to be minusing what we have, the length we have for this half length, and we'll place it as shown. So what I had for that half length was 9 inches, and the length of my dress, the full length, is going to be 27 inches. So I minus 9 inches that I had for my half length, then I placed it on the gathers as shown, then I marked 27 inches as my full length. So the 27 inches is including allowance, so don't forget to add allowance. So now we're going to be cutting out 2 gathers. So from the line we already marked, I'm still going to place 9 inches of my tape on that line, making sure that what I have will be enough. I'm going to place 9 inches as shown, then I'll be marking out 27 inches also for the second gathers. So that is what I'm marking right now. Now we're going to be cutting this out to get 2 gathers. So the upper one is what I'm cutting first. We're going to cut it out and that will be one part of our gather. Then this is the second one I'm cutting right here. Now after cutting, you can see we have one long piece. It is very long. So I'm going to open this up, then open up the other gathers. Now we have two long pieces. I'm going to place them right sides facing each other, and I'm going to arrange it, making sure what I have is equal. Then when I'm done arranging it, I'm going to sew it. I'm going to sew it with my sewing machine. Then I will run a loose stitch all the way to the end. So after running that straight stitch, and when running it, make sure that your machine is not tight, because if it's tight, it will be difficult to gather it. And after running that stitch, you have to leave some thread as shown. You have to leave this thread because we're going to be using this thread to gather this dress. So what I'm doing now is making sure that what I have is not tied, because we'll be using one part of the rope to gather this dress. So I will just be showing you how to gather it. So you can see it's shrinking already, and this will only happen when you run a straight stitch on your gathers and the machine you're using is not tight. Make it loose so that you'll be able to have this gather, and this is the easiest way to make your gather. So I'm going to be gathering this, and I'll be showing you what it looks like. Now after gathering it, this is what I have. You can see how full it is. The two pieces we joined together gave us these full gathers. Now for the organza, I have 2 yards of organza here, and we're still going to be using this to make our gather, to make this dress full. So if you want to make this dress full, you can also use organza. So the length of my dress is 27 inches. So but for this organza, I minus 3 inches away from it, because it doesn't have to be the same length. The organza is going to be shorter than the main gathers. So I removed 3 inches away from the actual length of my dress, and I'm marking that. So make sure after cutting, it doesn't show. It will show definitely, but it's not longer than the actual dress. So I'm going to cut out 2 pieces. I'm going to have 2 pieces for this organza. Now after cutting, I have 2 long pieces, and I'm going to place them like so. I'll take them to my sewing machine. I'll join that part and also run a straight loose stitch to get my gather. So this is the part I joined, and this is my gather. So this is my gather and my organza together. Now this is what I have, and you can see that the first gather we made is longer than the organza. So this is how it should be. For my half length, I'm going to be opening this up, and I'll make sure of the right side, then place my lining on top of it as shown. You can use a doll face for this if you wish. So I'm going to be closing up the neck, the armhole, the both sides, and my bodies. I'll be doing it for the back as well. Now when I'm done, this is what I have. This is my front piece, and this is my back piece. So the net I have shrinks, so you can give yours a good press if it's not going to damage the dress. So this is the back piece. Now I'm going to pin the back pieces together, and I'll place my front piece on top of it, right sides facing each other, and I'll make sure that what I have is equal and is nicely placed. Then I'm going to be closing the both sides. So from the armhole, I'll sew it to the bottom part of this half length as shown, and I'll close the shoulders as well. So this is my basic bodice, and now I'll be adding my gathers to this part to get a complete dress. So I'm going to be placing my gather on top of this half length as shown, making sure that what I have is equal. If you're placing this and the gathers is longer than your dress, you can still gather it again so everything is equal. So I'll take this to my sewing machine, I'll sew it, and I'll add my organza to it as well. So making sure everything is nice and neat, I'm still going to sew this. Now after sewing, this is what I have. You can see how neat it is. So I joined the organza and the main fabric together, and this is what the front looks like. So I'm going to gather my lining on top of my organza, and I'm going to show you how to cut the sleeve. The sleeve I used for this is a cup sleeve, and it's not so difficult to make. I'm going to be showing you how I cut this out. So just mark the length you want it to be. This fabric I have here are 2 pieces, so I placed 2 pieces together to get 2 cup piece. So this is just the shape. So this is one part of the sleeve. Remember, I have 2 pieces. Now I'm going to cut the other part of the sleeve. I'm making it 2 cuts. I'll be turning it with 1. So I'll just place it like so, and I'll also cut it out. So this is how you cut your cup sleeve. So now after cutting this sleeve, I'm going to open it up. We have 4 different pieces of this, and I'm going to be joining this. I'll join it at the bottom, then I'll gather it. Then after gathering it, I'll add it to my armhole. So it's going to be like this when you gather it. So if you want many gathers, you can make your sleeve bigger and wider than this. So after adding my sleeve and my lining, this is what I have. Now this lining I attached it to the upper part of this dress. As you can see, this is the upper part. So you gather it on the upper part, don't gather it at the lower part, don't do it. So to have something as neat as this, place it on the upper part and sew it. Now after doing this, I'm going to add my zipper, but first I'll have to join the back piece together. So I'm taking my net, I'll place them right sides facing to each other, and I'm going to sew it up to the point where I want my zipper to stop. So I'm just going to sew it separately as shown. So just sew it separately and stop where you want your zipper to end. Now for the organza, I'm going to turn it as shown with my lining, and so I can have everything inside. So I'm going to turn it with my lining, sew it, and I'll attach my zip. Now this is the final result on my daughter. Thank you for watching. Bye.